Welcome back everyone to Blender to Unreal Engine 5, the complete beginner's guide, and this is where we left it off. Now I think before we carry on, let's actually grab these again, let's pull them out a little bit more, because I feel like they're still a little bit low on the resolution. Now they look better. If we're looking at this to this, now let's come to these ones, grab everything, A to grab everything, and then S, pull them out, like so. And now they're looking similar to the resolution of the other parts. Double tap the A, and there we go. We've got clear distinction between everything, and it's looking really, really nice. Now, just making sure everything's okay. All right, so we're not going to worry about the bottom bits because the bottom bits actually have a little couple of pieces of wood that are going to go down and support those. Now, I think before we actually start the windows, let's get this part in here. So this part in here, pretty much exactly the same way. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a cube, Shift A, cube. Let's bring it over. Because I'm in my UV map, by the way, you need to press Shift Spacebar again to bring in the move tool. So let's bring it over, press the S button. And I'm thinking that we will bend this round an easier way. Let's just get it into place first. So I'm just going to press S, like so. We don't want it as big as this one. We want it a little bit smaller. And what I'm going to do is just get it in position first. So I'm going to pour it down to the floor, like so. Now the posts definitely want to be down on the floor. So all of the posts do. These bits here don't need to be quite so low. And then let's bring it up now. So if I bring it up, Shift Spacebar, move. Let's bring it up to the top, where it's going to slot in like so. And then what I'm going to do now is add in some edge loops. So Control R. Make sure there's one in the middle on these. So you can see now I've got one in the center because I am going to actually use that to bend this. What I'm going to do now is just going to come in first of all, grab this one all the way down to this one, Shift H, hide everything else, and then I'm going to grab that center one and just work one up like so. And then what we're going to do is put proportional editing on, and we'll put it onto maybe sharp. Let's do sharp. Let's press 1 on the number pad, and you should just be able to see that line. If you can't see the line, it might be better if you put it onto, I'm thinking whether it on, I'm wondering whether just to isolate it all away. So yeah, I think I'll do that. So what I'll do is I'll press Shift H, isolate everything out of the way. Now press Tab, and there's my line. So now I can actually work with that. I'm wondering, it's going at the moment like this. I'm not happy with that. So I'm going to try coming round and putting it on there. And I'm going to try bending this in. Not happy with that either. I don't think that's a little bit too much. It's not quite what I'm looking for. So I'm going to change I'm going to change it to sphere. Let's try that. Bring it in. Yes. That might be better. That is better. I'm happy with how that looks. The shape of that is really nice. So now let's press Alt H. And you can see that's all being kept the same. That's exactly what we wanted. Press Tab, Alt H, bring everything back. Double tap the A. Put it onto object mode. Yes, and there we go. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Something like that. Now, we've got our gray box in the way. Let's hide that out of the way. And then what I'm going to do now, I need to mirror this over to the other side. I'm just going to make sure, first of all, that things like this aren't happening. So you can see it over there. You can see that it needs pulling up a little bit. It is out far enough, so that's good. So it just needs to be a little bit taller. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the top of this. I'm going to press Tab, X-ray, face select, grab the top of this, 1 on the number pad, and just bring it up very slightly. Doesn't matter if proportional editing's on for this. I'm going to turn it off now. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control A, all transforms, right click, set origin, 3D cursor. Let's turn off the X-ray. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go to modeling, just so I can actually put this over the other side. So let's come in, add a modifier. I'm going to add in a mirror, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a bevel, like so. I'm going to turn it down, and it's probably going to be on 0.005. Let's put it on object mode so I can see. Let's turn off X-ray, like so. And yes, that's looking absolutely fine. All right, so let's apply the mirror, not the bevel. So Control A. In fact, no, we won't. We'll actually Shift H, isolate everything, and I'll just actually mark a seam in there. So Control E, mark seam. And you can see now as well that this workflow is really fast. So you should be able to speed up your workflow now by doing these actual operations in this set order. All right, we've got that there. Right click, Shade Auto Smooth. Let's apply now our mirror, Control A. Let's go in with A. Let's come over to Mesh, Transform, Randomize, turn it down 0.1, 0.01, turn it down 0.01. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, and that's looking pretty fine. And now what we'll do is we'll just go back and bring everything back. So Alt H, and my gray box once more. Like so. And yeah, I'm thinking that looks pretty good. So now all I need to do is I need to actually apply this material the same as this. So I'm going to grab this one, press Control L, and we're going to link materials. And then I'm going to come to this one, Tab, View, Unwrap. And there we go. That's looking pretty good without really doing anything to it. All looking different as well. So really happy with that. Now I'm just looking at this one, making sure I'm happy with that. Okay, everything's done there. Now let's think about bringing in our windows, something a little bit different. Okay, so first of all, we need a plank of wood. So same as what we've been doing all the way along. We have got a bevel on here, so you could probably, with just the windows, get away with just stealing this one. So I'm going to press L, Shift D, bring it over, like so. And yeah, we'll actually focus more now on taking things we've already built. It's going to make it much easier in the long run. Okay, so we've got this. Let's press P to separate it. Let's grab it now. Press Control A, all transforms, right click, origin to geometry, rotate it. So R, X, 90. Press 3 on the number pad. And what we're going to do is make it much smaller, like so. I'm going to try slot it in there. Now, one thing I can see I've missed, or I haven't missed, I've probably just moved it. I'm going to just slot that into there, like so. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, so SZ, like so. And the other thing is I need to make sure it goes all the way through the window. So you can see that ledge is nice there. Just the back of it that I need to do. So I'm going to grab this one, pull it all the way back, just into there, making sure it doesn't go past this point here, so I can pull it back just a little bit more. And then what I'm going to do now, because I missed this, is I need to move this over to this side. So I'm going to grab just this one here, L, Shift D, pull it over, put it into place. There we go. There is our nice windows. And then what I'm going to do is because obviously this is the same as this. So I'm going to grab this, I'm going to go to the UV editing, and then I'm just going to press A and G just to move them back to modeling. And now it's going to look completely different. Maybe that looks a little bit too crazy actually. So let's actually go back to UV editing and let's put this on material so we can see what we're doing and not have that craziness. I'm going to grab it, press G, and there we go. That's looking bad. Okay. All right, let's go back to modeling. And now what we're going to do is we're going to grab this one, press A. I'm going to move it up. So Shift D, move it up into there, like so. And then I'm looking at how much space I've got between the window. And I think actually that's a pretty good space. Okay. Now we need to bring these over to here. So I'm going to press Shift D, bring them over, like so. And there we go. Now, because we don't need the inside of these, so if I grab both of these, press Control J, the inside of these, if I press Shift H, is not needed. So all of these are not needed. Now, honestly, send it into Unreal. It ain't going to make a big difference leaving these on. But sometimes if you're making, for instance, a mobile game or a VR game, you need to be really careful about how many polygons you have, but mainly how much UV space you're actually wasting. Because even though these are seamless textures, this is still costing data, processing power, because they actually have a polygon And more than that, they have an actual texture. Because what we're finding nowadays actually with the games engines is it's the textures and the materials that are really costing as far as performance goes. So performance heavy games, it's normally because not of the polygons, it's normally because of the textures and materials. Now I know you've got Nanite in Unreal Engine, but it can only do so much, and it's mainly there for polygons, not textures. So we just have to take that into account. So what you should do is anything where it's not actually going to be showing, in other words, where no one can see it, just make sure that you're cleaning them up and you're not actually keeping like these polygons in place. So let's press delete on these polygons, delete them out of the way. We should be left with something like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab them all and I'm going to re-unwrap them. So unwrap, and then I'm going to go into UV editing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Tab, Alt-H, bring everything back. And I just want to make sure that they're in line with the rest of the build, which I think they are. Okay, now let's go back to modeling. And what we'll do is we'll create the little windows in here. First of all, though, before doing that, I just want to make sure that they don't look all the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn the randomness on once more. So I'm going to grab them all with A. I'm then going to go to Mesh, Transform, Randomize, and just turn it back the other way. So minus 0.1, something like that. And now this should look a bit different. All right, now that's done. Let's think about then, we need a plane in the back of here because this is going to be kind of our window. And then we need kind of some meshing in there as well. So let's do the plane first because then we can see where our meshing is going to go up to. So what I'm going to do the plane is I'm going to grab this here and this one here. I'm going to press F to join them all up. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this, press the Y button, split it off. And there we go. There's our actual plane. And now all we need to do is just make it a little bit bigger, like so. And you'll notice we have got an issue with this. So let's have a look what this issue is. Let's pull this out. And I think it's just that we've got more than one kind of face on here, or it's because it's non-maniform. So either way, let's clear it up. So let's come in and put in limited dissolve. There we go. Cleared it up, straightened it all up, and now we can just put it back into place. Now I should be able to use this one over the other side as well. I'm just making sure if I go on to X-ray, it's all in there. So you can see it's in the wood, both, and it's in here. So we're not going to have any gaps. So what I want to do now is just put it over the other side. So Shift D, bring it over this side, put it into place. And there we go. All right, everyone. So now let's bring these round. Let's press Tab, double tap the A. And there we go. All right, the next one then, what we should do is we should get our little windows in here. And then I think what we'll do from there is we'll work actually on this door. And then we'll be moving on probably to the supports down here and then finally the roof. All right, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed that and I'll see you on the next one. Oh, yes, before we go, let's actually save our work so we don't lose it. All right, everyone. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.